The one thing I learned about leadership, it's about service. It's not about you. And I had a three-star general Zanini when I was in Korea made time for me, put me on his schedule, and I asked him that question. He told me, he was like, "Hey, who cares what the people above you are saying?"
Hey, welcome to the Leadership Loading Podcast. I'm Jason McClaren with my guest Philip. Philip, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for allowing me to come on. I'm an honor to get the message out there.
Definitely. So Philip, Philip's an Army veteran. We'll get into that in a second, and then he's also running a veteran transition program, and we'll learn more about that also. But yeah, Philip, tell us about your background. What led you to join the military?
Well, I grew up in Dayton, Ohio. Poor little white kid. Didn't realize on how my family was one uh, generation out of the hills of Kentucky. They moved up to Dayton for their industrial revolution back after the war. But I didn't want to stay where I was at. I've worked those factories and everything, and I wanted something more. So being wild child, the military was my stability, and it would open opportunities well, I've lived through everything I could only imagine, but I lived through history. And now I'm in a position to where I did all the hard stuff. And that's what the military taught me was there's no shortcuts. You got to get in there and do it. And if you don't show up, and I was always into law enforcement. So joined when I was 17, between my junior and senior year, joined the National Guard of Ohio. And it gave me the focus, the purpose, direction, and motivation and everything. And it was the constant in my life because I did it for 24 years. And I've taken advantage of every opportunity to better myself. And first one to get a bachelor's and then a master's, and never thought I would ever go to college. But as I became more professional in my mindset, because I was a fighter my whole life, and it harnessed that energy into more productive outcomes.
Awesome.
So
And so
yeah, that I,
I was gonna say, so you built off of that, and what was your MOS in the Army?
I was military police,
Yeah, so that kind of built. You
and
mentioned the law enforcement earlier, so that kind of built off of that.
yeah, well, I tried civilian law enforcement before I went active, and because I was at University of Dayton as a police officer, making $10 an hour as a cop. I sat in my cruiser one night and said, "Please, God, tell me there's more in life than this." My twins were just born, so I had three young kids. I can't provide for them on $10 an hour. And trying to get my education. I work full time, went to school full time, and try to raise a family. I was on hyperdrive because I wanted a better life for my daughters. In the military, it was hard at first, but once I got in there, I it gave me the skills needed to work both the civilian and the military worlds. I had to do them both. And but I've been to the Pentagon. I've been to Ground Zero. I've sat in Saddam's chair in Iraq. These I lived history, and you don't think about it when you're doing it, but now I'm retired. I'm being told I'm overqualified.
Oh yeah, we run into
But
that all the time.
yeah, and think about that. Wait a minute. I checked all the blocks, but I did what I was supposed to. And now it's being used against me. But what I realized, it takes a different turn, and that entrepreneurial mindset kicks in. And hey, one great thing about us is we're survivors. We're resilient. They taught us how to be resilient and live and thrive in any environment that we're put in.
Yeah, and then going back to your overqualification thing, we have a lot of benefits in the military and opportunities to leverage our background and like you mentioned earlier, you got your bachelor like and your master's. I've got my master's, and then we use all these skills and benefits to level up, and then they don't want to pay us for it, right? We get out into the civilian sector, and they're like, we don't, they don't want to pay for it, and so we end up doing things like what we're doing and like what you're doing with your consulting. And so, can we get into that? Like, so you're an emotional intelligence practitioner. How did you get into that?
Oh, I realized uh, doing self-awareness along with emotional intelligence and mindfulness that, wow, I was aggressive. Me, it was confidence because I know what I can do. It's the other people estimating you. And when you excel in places they think you will fail, I'm like, wait a minute, you just gave me an opportunity that I would love to do. And then you knock it out of the park, it ticks them off and they put you somewhere else. And we've all been through that. I mean, think about it. If you've been in the military any long, you know the politics. And my thing was, I didn't know when to shut up. I was that guy that was, this is bullshit. Why are we doing? I was that common sense guy that would praise them or chastise them because that's what we're taught in training. Where do you make all your mistakes? In training.
Right.
You don't, because what it is, I'd rather you fail horribly because you know what? You'll never do it again in combat. And that's the reality behind it. Everybody wants to go, oh, we were perfect. And then they get their butt handed to them when they get over there. And you know
Definitely.
what? Look, and that's the mentality or mindset that they need to go into. And that's part of the self-awareness and realizing, oh, yeah, I can see why they reacted that way. Because as you get in the higher levels, you see those type of personalities in others. But now, if we can take that same thing and refine them and make get them to understand themselves first and realize, okay, you're the one that makes people uncomfortable. Well, why? Well, you're 6'7" and you got a mouth on you don't know with no filter. And I have my one of my clients that I've been working with, that's the way his situation was. Highly intelligent, but his mouth got because he had a strong moral compass. And it doesn't go well in the military, especially when you're that big and realizing you got to be that gentle giant now. You're not in that combat zone. You're not doing this. It's not life or death anymore. Well, it's survival now. And now, how do we take that mindset, that warrior mindset that is, we get things done. You give me a mission, it, I'll let you know when I'm done. And but that's how. But you'll find out in the civilian side of it, they're not on your same timeline. There is no urgency. Where are they going? It's a Groundhog Day for them. And that's what I found out working contract in Iraq, that I had more empathy for other countries. I had none for Americans because we've seen, oh God, I'm living great.
Right.
And getting them to understand the moment. And that's where, wait a minute. Yeah, you were a Billy badass in that. But you know what? Do you want do you want somebody like you around your mom and your sister?
Yeah.
That's the reality, and that's why I only hang out with ex-military. No, I want to hang out with those civilians that 95% that has no clue what I'm talking about. And I'm nothing special. I'm a civilian that had a phenomenal life because I chose something better than what was in front of me.
Definitely.
And it's about thriving now. And but once you get it's that reset that zero yourself out and realize on the highway, why do I want to ram everybody off the road? Well, it's because I did it in Iraq. And it's that in you. And now, but it's unnecessary here. They just have inconsiderate drivers. And realize that by me driving aggressively, it scares the heck out of my passengers.
Right.
But when in my mind, I'm getting from point A to point B as fast as I possibly can.
Awesome. So with your coaching and your mentoring, um,
Yes.
so, so you're doing that through your LLC.
Yes.
What's that called?
Ayles Solutions.
Ayles Solutions. That's right. All right. And so you're down in Jacksonville, and what's the process for people that are interested in getting in contact with you?
Well, you can get a hold of me by email. The website is www.ailsolutions.com or 904-469-6883. And then I have a cell phone that once we connect, we'll go from there. But to the most part, it's having better communication with yourself, the world, and you'll find out your energy will change and your family will see it the most because we're not in charge of everything anymore. We're now it's about how can we better our families because that's what everybody else is doing. And love, getting to love yourself first. Because once your cup's full, let the overflow nourish the world. But you can't do anything if your cup's empty. You can't help anybody. And what you'll do is, I had a buddy of mine was burning himself out, his health and everything, trying to help everybody else while he imploded. I got him out of that. Now he's thriving. He's better off now than he's ever thought about being. And it's because I got him to understand how he affects everybody else. And now he's doing it in a positive way, and people love him from running to loving. And I think that's what every veteran and first responder out there is realizing. Yeah, most people only have one, maybe two traumas in their whole lifetime. We get it on, that's just Tuesday morning, two or three traumas. And now, and me being a blocker with ADHD, PTSD, and all those other acronyms, I was be able to, I can compartmentalize and forget about it until I need it. And now that I retired, now all that's coming up. Well, you knock down one wall, seven more pop up, and you knock down that wall. It's just chipping it away because you have your whole life of creating it, 30 years or 20 years or whatever. And then you sitting alone and then you understand that it was when it was. It's not where I'm at now. We lose that sense of purpose. And I
100%.
did.
Yeah.
And there's organizations out there that like Wounded Warrior and Team Rubicon and uh, there's 45,000 of them in the United States that say they help veterans and first responders. I say let's put them to the test because not one person, they have all different viewpoints. I've done them and went through their programs and everything. They serve a purpose, but you can't go off of one solely or wholly.
Yeah. They all
Uh,
have
that
niches.
yes, and you're the product. They only exist to help for us. And the thing about it is, what I find out is veterans don't want to use it or don't know about it, or their ego and their pride's preventing them to say, hey, let's see what they're talking about. I do it out of curiosity. It allows me to better understand and I'm looking at it through an organizational thing. The CEO, the board, their mission, their vision, and everything else. Are they following it? Or are they creating a slush fund where they're hiring all their friends in there, and by the time it actually gets down to it, maybe 20% goes to where it's supposed to. So
Yep. That's
these
why
are
we're
things.
really big on staying volunteer at Go Heroes. Yep. We have all volunteers, and we make sure that all the donations 100% go to the programs, and we cover our expenses through other ways. But yeah, definitely.
And I think everybody deserves to be loved. And if you don't love yourself, why would anybody else? And you do things for the right reasons, for the same purpose that you've done most of the things in your life. Everything's in stages. And it's different when you're the observer. Because until now, I've been a doer. And it's the connections. The biggest thing in the transition is networking. I came here to Jacksonville, knew absolutely nobody, and met my wife shortly after coming here. My new wife, my second wife, at Michael's Beach here in Jacksonville, and I walked out on the beach. God smacked me in the back of the head. Never had that happen before, and I've been all over the place and met thousands and thousands of people. Told me stop, pay attention. This woman would change my world, and she was an equine or a horse girl, equine. She jumped them and stuff like that. So she'd been around horses her whole life, and I antiquated my thing is, I was that wild stallion that came in, was fighting and bucking everybody because it was survival to me, 'cause I didn't know any better. And calmed my raging inner child. And it took equine therapy for me to realize I needed to love myself. And once you love yourself, you go, wait a minute, why am I spending all my money doing all these helping these other people and I'm eating ramen noodles?
Right.
Well, hey, you got to get your health in order, get the surgeries, get everything you need. Take the time because that's all you have is right now, and all you're doing is perpetuating the madness later on. And
Awesome.
mhm.
That's awesome, Philip. Yeah, I read your story on your website. I encourage the listeners to go check out your website and see what you guys are doing over there, and then contact you. So, Philip, any last minute leadership tips for new leaders?
Well, the one thing I learned about leadership, it's about service. It's not about you. And I had a three-star general Zanini when I was in Korea made time for me, put me on his schedule, and I asked him that question. He told me, he's like, "Hey, who cares what the people above you are saying? If the people that you're in charge of, or their livelihood is in your hands, if they tell you you're screwing up, pay attention because those are the ones that's your responsibility. And if they fail, you fail because we're only as good as the weakest link. Well, if we're all working together as a team and understand everybody has their purpose, and life is OJT to where you'll be thrown in from. That's how you develop in the military. You're that trigger puller in the beginning, and you work your way up and do all the different positions, so you understand the bigger picture and always keep yourself the biggest problem comes from in the middle. It gets filtered, and be true to who you are. And my biggest thing is I got through everything that life threw at me because I told the truth. Because it'll always come out. I'd rather deal with it now where it's fresh and we can move beyond it than sit there and lie. And now I have to think about what I lied about before and how's it connect there. Nah, just tell the truth. You don't have to remember anything other than what really happened.
Definitely. Yeah, you can get caught up in a web there if you're just kind of trying to figure everything out as you go.
Mhm. And you're not honest with yourself. And I learned to be brutally honest with myself and go, why did I just do? What's my motivation? Well, if it doesn't serve me, why do it? I mean, literally, we have 24 hours in a day. And what it is we're on a timeline that's constantly moving forward. And we're sharing the exact same moment in time. We're doing different things. It's how can we all get along to prosper as a whole rather than just an individual? And what do you do when everybody's out there hustling like you are? What do you bring to the table? How do you make people feel? Is the civilian side's about all about feelings now.
Yeah, people
You
always remember
may,
how you make them feel.
yes, because in Trent, we have a natural need for validation or understanding. Um, and I think that's where a lot of that comes in.
Definitely. Well, Philip, thanks for coming on the show today.
Hey, I greatly appreciate the opportunity.
Hey, everybody. This episode of the Leadership Loading Podcast was brought to you by Go Heroes Inc., goheroes.org. If you'd like to be a sponsor, go ahead and check out our website or email us, and we'll get you all the information you need.
There are thousands of leadership and management podcasts to choose from. We're glad you chose the Leadership Loading Podcast, a Go Heroes production. If you'd like to support Go Heroes Inc., visit www.goheroes.org. And with that, it's time to wrap up today's show. Thank you so much for listening. We sincerely hope you liked it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this podcast with your family and friends. Let's all grow together. Thanks for listening to the Leadership Loading Podcast. Leadership in